Okay, guys, happy Sunday. Yes, today is the day that we wrap up the direct examination of Charlie Adelson on the stand by his counsel, Daniel Rashbaum. What does that mean? It means tomorrow we're hitting Georgia Kappelman with her cross, with her Olympic standard cross-examination of Charlie Adelson. Is it doctor? Okay, doctor. Yeah. So I've just been looking for a nice. They had a break last night. We took a break too, and I think what we're going to do, guys, is try and find a nice way. There's the rest of today. There's the rest of the day in court. There's a break in the middle. And then there's a little bit in the morning tomorrow that I want us to find a way to cover today, because it's been 3 days of Daniel Rashbaum and Charlie Adelson, and I think that's just about enough creep for one day. We need some purity. We need some Georgia. We need some Tallahassee friggin' assistant state prosecutor Kappelman in the house to add a little sweetness to the beverage. Anyway, I've been trying to find a place to come in here. They've been messing around for about 30 minutes trying to get the audio. They're going to be playing some audio for Charlie and the jury, the recording of the first phone call they had, Charlie and Donna, after the bump. And it was amazing, the amount of problems. And Daniel Rashbaum was so charming throughout. He was making Sarah Dugan smile, and Georgia Kappelman was having a great time with Mr. Rashbaum dancing around at their table like a little elf. He's so charming. Oh, Georgia's got her serious face back on. Good. Good. No time for jokes, Georgia. You're on serious business. You're up against an Adelson and one of the best lawyers in America, Daniel Rashbaum. Not. I still don't know where they got this guy. I think he's a disaster. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because he's Charlie Adelson's attorney or because of the case. I just think he's really bad. He's just not got it. What he's got is client schmooze, especially with older Jewish women. Anyway, let's roll tape, please.
Okay. Just tell her write a letter to you or something?
Okay.
Okay, everyone's good? All right, so we're not going to do the screen because that's just causing for more problems. All right.
Oh, he's such a good boy, isn't he? Judge Everett's up on the big chair just going, "We love you, Rashbaum. You're so charming and smiley."
Continue at your own peril, but you may continue.
So, Charlie, I'm going to play for you call A. This is a call on April 19th, 2016, 2:09 p.m. It's the first call with your mom after the bump. Okay?
Hi, Wendell. How you doing? Peace. Love and peace.
So, you know, it's a time tonight after work or some other time in the very near future. I need to keep it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just tell her write a letter to you or something?
That's hand delivery.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was. I'm going to check for you.
Okay.
Okay. So,
How many times a week do you think these guys get sued? I mean, his first place to go to is, "Are you being sued again?" Okay, he didn't say again, but he might as well have done.
and then we have to figure out something. Control it wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Park Boulevard. So I'm right now in the silent Chile, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
Hi, Marcus X Sarah. Love to you, man. And Cindy Hindi, Norwegian. Yeah, of course we're covering Donna's trial. That's gonna be our main gig by then. When is it? November, October?
The boys finished their piano lesson around 4-ish, and they traffic at the end, they take a ride with them upstairs.
Did Dad know about this?
The dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's Medicare? Is it IRS?
You know, these IRS people, they're kind of foggy sometimes, but fortunately not me.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way. Okay. And
Does Wendy know that? Is it about Wendy?
No, definitely not about Wendy. Definitely not about when we all plotted to kill her ex. You know, that's what he meant by that question. Is it about Wendy, like the murder? Is it something to do with the murder plot? Honestly, the stuff they come out with. Are you being sued? Is it the IRS? Is someone looking into our dodgy deals?
So let me just talk to you later. And
What is it? Is it a household check?
yeah.
Does it involve me or other people?
Well,
What is this, Charlie? She said she'll talk to you later. Stop digging. Take a hint. Realize that, I mean, I don't know why Donna is calling him. She's just had the bump, you know, with the big guy, the Latin King looking guy comes up to her on the street, but she thought it might be the FBI, which it was. Which any sensible, you know, I think if Donna had had more time to think it through, you know, she's not as dumb as we think. I think she'd have worked it out. But the thing was, the shock factor, she was just taken straight out of it. You know, it had been done for 2 years. They were walking around like completely scot-free, thinking they were kings of the universe. Makes me wonder if they've killed anyone else, you know?
probably
What's that?
probably the two of them. So we probably have a general idea of So let's just find some time to talk to each other and get the grace for a while. Okay?
You're going to take the boarding up there? So it's harder to talk to me today.
Or tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'll be up at Ms. Fine's office. You want to come up? Oh yeah, so really like.
I'm just concerned that I can get up there and get back and time for Angie to get them. Sometimes she gets out a little earlier.
Can I ask you a question? Whose paperwork has
I see them, that's great. Something that's hands to hand for me. I was really good with them today.
And he was it ranked, was it anonymous or?
Oh no, not anonymous. Not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it. Oh, it's fun.
Right, whatever it is.
Yeah, Charlie, whatever it is, it is. And what it was an FBI sting operation that you completely fell for. In all your criminal wisdom and all your both sides of the tracks operations, you never saw that one coming, did you?
Sorry, but if you want,
I wouldn't bother you. Trust me.
yeah, I know. You want me to come down to see you tomorrow? I actually have the day off.
Yes, that would be wonderful. That actually starts later tomorrow. you know, he goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 9:30 to 10:30. So,
Whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
Yeah.
I don't it's not the IRS, but I
I just
will,
would like you to
Leslie, I think you might be onto something. His hubris, Leslie says, guys, his hubris was fueled by his regular cocaine use. Yeah. And, you know, and also all that vacationing he did in Colombia, where everything is for sale. Not just for sale, but encouraged.
review it and give me some input as to what your thoughts are. Okay? So come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 is good.
12 tomorrow.
Yeah, he leaves at 12, he stops at 1 there, so 12, 12:15.
All right, I'll come down in the afternoon, but I think I know.
That would be great.
Perfect. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Let me come down. Okay.
Charlie, where are you when this call happens?
I'm at Skyline Chili, eating a bowl of chili.
I'm at Skyline Chili, eating a bowl of chili. He couldn't just say at a restaurant or having lunch. I'm at Skyline Chili, eating a bowl of chili.
Your mom says that she had some paperwork delivered to her. Do you have any clue what she's talking about?
I have no clue what she's talking about.
What do you guess?
I thought it was the IRS.
What else do you guess?
Is everyone's health okay?
Do you think it has anything to do with either your extortion or Professor Markel's murder at this point in time?
No, not at all.
Why are you asking so many questions?
But my mom, I know my mom my whole life. She's talking weird on the phone. She's like,
That's weird, isn't it? I've known my mom my whole life.
it's like something's obvious. I can tell something's bothering her, but she's beating around the bush.
Now, your mom says, you say, does it involve me or other people? And your mom responds, well, probably both of us, probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. And I want to focus on those statements. Okay. When she says that to you, did you have any clue what she was talking about?
No, I think I asked her a few more questions after that.
Now, as the calls progress, do you know what she's talking about?
By the time I got to the end of the third call, I knew exactly what she was talking. I felt like I knew pretty much what she was talking about.
By that point in time, and I want to go back to this line, does it involve me or other people? Her answer, well, probably both of us, probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. By the end of figuring out what this was, what did you understand her to be saying here?
By the time I got down to the third call, I realized fully what she was talking about in this call, in that she's getting extorted.
And so why the two of us?
She knows I was extorted 2 years earlier, and it's the same people that are coming to extort her for money. So she's trying to say like it's the same thing that happened to you is happening to me.
Okay. And just to be clear, about a month and a half after the extortion of you, who did you tell?
My mom. She's the only person I told.
Now, when she says it's probably...
I'd love to have seen it when Charlie and Dan were sitting around the table going, okay, this thing where Donna says it involves the two of us. What could that be that's not incriminating? You know, they were probably thinking for hours, and then one of them went, I've got it. What if I was being extorted and then someone came to Donna and tried to extort her? She'd be like, it involves me, And it's the same people who are doing that same thing to you. So it involves the two of us. And they were like, yeah, the people of Tallahassee, they won't even know the difference between murder and extortion. They're fools, I tell you, fools.
The both of us, probably the two of us. You understand the state's theory is that this murder conspiracy was, in addition to Katie, Sigfredo, and Luis Rivera, you, your mom, your dad, your sister. Do you understand that?
I do now, yeah.
She doesn't say probably the four of us, does she?
No, she's not.
She doesn't say all of us, does she?
No.
She says the two of us, right?
Yeah.
Now, the bump, what was the bump?
The bump was an extortion from Latin King gang members. Or actually, it was the FBI pretending to be Latin King gang members.
Now, on this call, there's discussion about your dad's schedule. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Why was it important? Why do you learn later that it was important what your dad's schedule was?
Because my dad never knew what happened to me. And my mom was going to want to talk to me when my dad wasn't around.
If we could go to B, which is a call right after, and it's you calling your mom back.
Sure.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Hey, how are you?
Okay.
Good. Is it me not paying the Sun Pass?
Don't they speak like a couple? You know, isn't there this weird vibe between them? I don't speak to my mother like that.
I'm kidding. No, listen, what was I going to say? Do you mind paying my Brown and Brown insurance?
No.
Okay. Because I'm in a big same company. Yeah, but the thing is this, if you stay with the same company for 3 years, they can then try to bump you down into the low.
I think what this is, do you mind paying my Brown insurance or Brown, what was it? Brown and Brown insurance? Yeah, can you pay my Brown insurance? I think what this is so Charlie's called Donna back after the call where she tells him about the bump or says, I got to talk to you. This weird thing happened. And Charlie, who's not under the pressure and shock that Donna's been through with this big Latin King gang member coming up to her in the street out of the blue, has had a little bit more time to think, and he's thought this could be the FBI. And now she's made this fucking call to me, and if it is the FBI, they've got this line tapped. So we need to bring it back to normalcy, and I'm going to call Donna, my mom, back. And just so it looks like this bump really isn't that consequential to anything, the first thing I'm going to say is, hey, would you mind paying my Brown and Brown insurance? I'm looking to get a better rate, and I've been with the same company for 3 years, but blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like normal day at the office, Charlie.
Or bracket.
Oh, okay. So it's a good idea to do that.
So I might as well stay with them and then hope that that's actually true, that they can do what they said about putting it in a lower bracket.
Okay. Do you want me to call Pam Hall?
Yeah, because I told her that my mom would call her because she handles like that stuff at the office.
Okay.
And then just send them in a check. Because they have to have it before, I want to say the 29th or something.
Okay.
And then do that. And listen, whatever it is, whatever someone sent you, I wouldn't worry too much about anything.
Mhm.
I mean, so someone can.
Yeah. Whatever it is. I mean, if it's something, or if it's nothing, it doesn't matter. Because it's not consequential to us because we've done nothing wrong. That's what he's thinking. And would you pay my Brown insurance? What is his Brown insurance? Sounds weird.
Someone can write whatever they want to write, someone can say whatever they want to say. And I'm not worried. So, was it another bad review on Yelp?
You know, there's reviews coming in. Sometimes they are bad reviews. This is a particularly bad one.
But I'm not being sued.
No.
Okay. All right. Honestly, whatever it is, and I wouldn't just judging from what you're making it sound like. I wouldn't stress it out too much.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, people can always write. People can always say anything they want.
Yeah, it's probably nothing. I mean, people come up to me almost every day in the street and hand me a picture of someone that I've murdered or hired someone to murder and demand money. It's nothing, guys. What? No, my Brown insurance.
It doesn't, someone says you're a bad dentist, doesn't mean you're a bad dentist. So, but anyway, I'll definitely come down. It actually works out perfectly because I have the day off.
Okay. So I'll make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you.
All right.
Okay?
Do I need to bring cash?
Yeah, it's like if you take me out to dinner,
I want to pause it there.
Nice little bit of code, huh? Yeah, so if you're taking the day off, you can take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you. Now, Charlie knows that Donna doesn't talk like that about that topic. So he's like, oh, do I need to bring cash? Is it a cash thing, this bump? Do we have to pay somebody? And she's like, yeah, so you can take me out for dinner. Normal day. This TV is going to be about 5.
You call your mom back and you start talking about the Sun Pass. Does that have anything to do with this case, the Sun Pass? Is it code?
Sun Pass is not code.
Why do you mention the Sun Pass?
Because a couple weeks earlier, my Sun Pass had gotten stolen out of the car from a valet. I didn't realize it. My parents were getting all these bills, so they make a big deal about little things sometimes. So whatever it was, I was making fun of my mom. I thought she was like a small issue, like a Sun Pass thing.
And you then start talking about Brown and Brown insurance. What's Brown and Brown insurance? Is that code?
No. That was actually the reason I called her back. Is that for the last call, I forgot to tell her that I had to pay that insurance. Otherwise, if my insurance lapses, they'll cancel the policy, and it was due. So it was due by the 29th.
You then start making more guesses. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, still at a loss for what's going on.
You bring up Yelp. You bring up getting sued, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, any clue whatsoever what this is about at this point in time?
No, she just sounded really weird on the first call.
Okay. Then we get to the part that we just stopped. And she says to you, I will make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you. At that point in time, what happens to your demeanor? You can hear it on the call. What happens?
I stutter and I repeat back to her what she just said. I'm like, I got to bring cash with me. Like it was so out of place.
Why did that happen at that point in time?
I think she was trying to hint to me that she's getting extorted.
So what was odd about you bringing cash to dinner?
I put everything I possibly can on my credit card. That's how I've ended up saving up so much cash.
And let's hear how you respond.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea, right?
Yeah. Was this? I should bring cash. I don't have much cash to bring.
Yeah, I'll see if I have money to get it. Let's see what I can do.
Was it? Can I ask you, is someone blackmailing you?
No, it's a possibility.
Do you think someone's trying to blackmail you?
Maybe.
Hey, Charlie, Here's a tip. She doesn't want to talk about it on the phone.
No. That's crazy. Is there, I don't know what black and white is called, but is there any way I can see you? You can't come up here at all?
It's really difficult because they don't think so. The parents usually use it as their school. And even if I came up there and got there like 5:15, it would still be tough to, necessarily get back here in time for the come up.
Was this, can I just ask you this? Is this anything government related, or is this like whack job writing a letter to you?
Like this?
Is it like a whack job writing a letter to you, or is this government related?
No, I don't know if it's government related.
So it's not government or military or anything like that?
No.
So it's not government or military or an astronaut or law enforcement? Is it law enforcement?
Who's the letter addressed to? To you. That's crazy. Did it have do you know who sent it to you?
I have a pretty good idea. Not a good idea. But, we'll talk later. Either, I would like to, I will definitely, I just don't know if I'm going to get back here in time for them to
Whoever sent you the letter sent you an anonymous letter. Did they sign it?
I can't believe he's still asking questions. I feel like he's playing Guess Who. Do you remember that game where you start off with all the faces popped up and they say, does he have glasses? And the other player will say, yes. So you put down all the ones without glasses. Is he in the military? It's definitely Sam.
What I did was,
It wasn't. Where did they come to you at?
when I walked out of the building, and they were late, and I put both driveways at the time.
Right.
And then I walked in about 5 feet from pressing the button so that I could cross the street to get the very first thing.
Right.
And just to get that on the sidewalk. Yes. Okay, Steve, so you say that.
So let's talk about this call. You ask your mom after she tells you to bring cash, is someone blackmailing you? And she says it's a good possibility. Now, what are you thinking?
I'm starting to evaluate, I still don't have an idea, but I was extorted 21 months earlier. So I'm starting to evaluate, is it related to that, or what could it be?
I was extorted, and she said she was blackmailed, and that's a big difference. So I still didn't realize what was going on.
And are you growing more concerned?
Very, yeah.
And you ask her who the letter was addressed to. Why do you ask her that?
Because I was the one who was extorted 21 months earlier. I had no idea why they'd be going to my mom. If
Now,
it was related to me.
You then mentioned the possibility of seeing your mom tonight, and she doesn't want to see you tonight. Why doesn't she want to see you?
Because she's watching the boys, and she didn't want Wendy to ask her, where were you? And have to tell her, what's going on.
Now, again, I thought, according to the state's theory, Wendy is a co-conspirator in this case, right?
That's part of their theory.
Now, you then say on this, is the person threatening you or anything?
Yeah, it is part of their theory, isn't it? And it's funny, the state's theory, because they've been at this for 8 years at this point. 2016 is when the arrests were made of Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia. Okay, they didn't get their trial until 2019, but they've still been on the case. And they've been correct about everything. Okay, Katie Magbanua had to have a retrial, but they got her, didn't they?
Why are you asking that?
Because on the night of the 18th, I was told if you don't pay in 48 hours, you're going to get killed. So I was trying to compare it to what happened to me to see is this related to what happened to me.
You later tell her that your advice to her is going to be to go to the police. Why would your advice to her to be to go to the police at this point in time?
Because I don't think it's related to what happened to me. When I asked my mom, are they threatening you? She was like, well, maybe. You never know how to interpret these things. And like it was very clear what
Yeah, Lee, it's very government related. That's what Lee says, guys. Hi, Lee. How you doing?
the threat was to me on the 18th. So like, okay, then it's something unrelated to at that level of seriousness. Maybe it's something involving code enforcement or OSHA or somebody messing with them. So I was just like, all right, just go to the police.
Now, towards the end of the call, you say it wouldn't be the first time I'm being threatened. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
What were you referring to?
When I was extorted 21 months earlier, I was threatened. So I was trying to compare it to that to see is it possibly related to what happened to me.
At the end of this call, do you know what is going on yet?
No, I don't know what's going on yet.
Let's go to the third call, which is 12 minutes later. And this is C. And this is at 3 o'clock p.m. between you and your mom.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, sorry about that. Quick question for you. Well, one thing I was going to tell you is obviously don't talk about things in the apartment or any place.
No, obviously.
The other thing is, was the person black, white, Hispanic,
What?
and they just came up to you and they said your name and they handed you a piece of paper?
Yeah. Yeah, he was as white as a sheet. He was the same color that you will be on the stand, Charlie. And so if he's not Hispanic, how can he be a Latin king? It must be the cops.
No, didn't hand it right away. First to me for a while, and then handed it to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they wearing hats, sunglasses, or?
No, nothing.
Yeah, hat,
Describe.
big hat, sunglasses, false beard. He was actually sitting on a bench, holding up a broadsheet newspaper to his face with 2 eye holes cut out of the newspaper.
What's that? You could describe them to me?
No, nothing.
Was the person nervous or were they angry or?
No, calm as could be. Totally calm.
That's really crazy. Are they?
Yeah, totally calm. He was pretty calm, wasn't he? He's like the opposite of what Donna is now, which is in a profound state of panic. I mean, can you imagine the adrenaline and the oh shit? I mean, she just can't help herself but get on the phone. I'd have driven round there, taken an Uber, or not done anything. I guess the thing to do. Let's think about that for a second. Some random person comes up to you, hands you a sheet of paper with your ex-son-in-law on it, who just happened to have been shot in the face 2 years earlier, and they've never caught the killer. What would you do? I guess what she should have done is run in or go quickly into a local business where they have CCTV. Like, you have to think back to when you were first allowed out on your own, and your parents and stuff used to say to you, if you get into trouble, call for help and run to someone you trust. Whoa, Lee, thank you so much for the super sticker. Or whatever it is, the super chat. Awesome. Thanks. You are so sweet and kind, and we love you. Yeah, yell for help and run to someone you trust. Donna should have run into a local business where they have CCTV and said, excuse me, I need some help, and can I use your phone? And called the police and had them meet her there. That's what she should have done.
Are they trying to ask for money or something?
Yeah.
But if someone's trying to, I mean, listen, if it's something like that, I'll probably like go to the police, but
They have to, but they'd rather talk to you first and then.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, there's scumbags out there all the time that try to do stuff like that.
Oh, no.
So,
That's why I just want you to see, because I don't want, your father upset.
don't say anything to Dad until I take a look at it, because Dad flies off
Absolutely.
on everything.
That's what I suggested, after he goes to work tomorrow.
Did the person give you any kind of like time frame or anything?
No.
Hey, Marcus X Sarah says, the shooter was a white Latino. What, Sigfredo Garcia? You'd call him white? I'd say he's Hispanic. He's called Sigfredo Garcia for one, and then he says things on the phone like, we're gonna go mano y mano. He's Hispanic, isn't he?
Okay.
It's clear what's wanted.
What is it? Kind of exactly what they asked for?
I don't know, this TV is probably about $5.
They asked you for $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when there's code, when there's actual code being used, and then Charlie just says the translated version. This TV is going to be about 5. They asked you for $5,000?
Yeah. Hey.
And then she, girlfriend. Hi, Sandra. Come on in. Good. How are you? Okay.
That's crazy. Let me take a look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll go from there.
Lincoln phone first. Okay, do that one. Yeah.
Now, in the 12 minutes before this call, had you started to put the pieces together and figure out what was going on a little bit?
A little bit. I was thinking about the first call and the second call, and the more I thought about it, I thought this is related to what happened to me. So somehow this is related to it.
And what does your attention shift to in the very beginning of this call?
I wanted to compare it to what happened to me 21 months earlier to see are these the same people that are doing this?
And so the first question you ask, were they black, white, or Hispanic? Why do you ask that question?
Because I always suspected that it was Sigfredo that did it. I mean, process in my head, that was my first guess, and that's who I would have guessed it was. When I met him, he was an angry guy, and I was trying to see, is this somebody fitting his description that's maybe coming to my mom and doing this?
Why
So is Charlie saying Sigfredo is Hispanic or white? I don't know. He's not black. I think we can safely say that.
do you ask her? Did they give you a time frame?
Because that night I was told you got 48 hours to pay up. I'm trying to compare it to, is this person telling my mom you got 48 hours to pay up?
Now, she says no, but it is clear what is wanted. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And then she says, this TV is probably about 5. Now, before we get there, in the very start of the call, you say don't talk about anything in the apartment or any place.
Sure.
Why do you say that to your mom?
Well, that was one of the first things I told her when I told her what had happened to me when I got extorted and was picking up the checks from her, is to never talk about it with anybody, not talk about it on the phone, don't talk in the apartment.
Yeah.
Is that there's always
When I was telling my mom about it, I said it's important that you don't tell anybody about it. And apart from this time I'm telling you, but apart from that, I asked Katie, how's the pool and everything else.
a chance that the police are listening.
And what would you be afraid the police were listening to if you didn't do a murder?
I never wanted anyone to know I was extorted.
Why didn't you want the police to know you were extorted? What would happen if the police knew you were extorted?
They would come talk to me.
And what would happen if they came and talked to you? What did you think would happen at that point?
If they came to talk to me, if I decided to talk to them, I'd have to tell them what happened to me. And if I told them what happened to me, my life would be in danger. These people.
Yeah, my life would be in danger if I told it to anybody. So that's why I'm not telling anybody, apart from you now. But after that, I'm not telling anybody ever again. Hey, Cinderella, thank you so much for your NOK super sticker. That is very generous of you. That's really appreciated. It won't be long now, guys, before we've got the golden mic. The golden mic with the tip-top audio heard around the world.
Would come find me. They'd find someone in my family. I mean, they don't care.
Now, going back to the TV comment where she says, this TV is probably about 5. Did you have code words with your mom that TV, I think they said, do you have that sheet what TV equals? Did TV, was it a code word?
There is absolutely no code word involving TV whatsoever.
Now, by the way, your response isn't, no, it's an air conditioner. Your response is, they want $5,000? Was there any code there?
Not at all. I just wanted to clarify what was being said to me, to repeat it back.
Your mom then brings up that they brought up an ex-girlfriend. Do you remember that?
I do.
Now, Ms. Kappelman, in her cross-examinations, went through how you had several ex-girlfriends after Katie Magbanua. You recall that?
I do.
Did any of your other ex-girlfriends become involved in a situation where you were extorted?
I only had one ex-girlfriend whose friends extorted me.
So once she brings up your
Oh, I knew exactly what was going on at this point. Well, almost exactly what was going on.
By the way, also during this call, you again remind your mom not to say anything to your father, right?
Yes, I did.
At the end of this call, what do you decide to do?
I'm going to give Katie a call.
And why are you going to reach out to Katie?
I want to see if her friends extorting my mom that she knows of, because she sure knew what had happened to me.
We're going to now publish D, Your Honor, already in evidence.
You may.
And this is a call between you and Katherine Magbanua at 4:27 p.m. on that same day, correct?
Yes.
You want to use your headphones?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
No, are you someplace you can talk to me?
So what?
Are you any place that you can talk to me?
You talk right now.
What's that?
Just talk right now. Just talk.
Okay, can you go somewhere that's not loud when I'm talking to you?
I can't. It's like loud, so I can't get out.
Okay, I'm trying to walk outside and talk to you right now. I can't even fucking get outside. All right, well, you better not. All right. Somebody, hang on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Katie so funny on the phone? Every time, every call, she's just like, what is with this chick? You know, I really like her angry call, you know, where they're all trying to call the number and everyone's threatening everybody without threatening them.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear.
Okay. I just want you to listen to me. I'll be able to talk to you in person when I see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I don't know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but my mom walked the kids. I only heard part of the story,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to go down there and talk to her tomorrow to find out what's going on.
Okay.
If she didn't want to elaborate,
Uh-huh.
but she said that someone approached her on the street,
Uh-huh.
called her by name,
Mm-hmm.
handed her an envelope with something in it.
Yeah.
And somebody she really wouldn't go into detail. I have no idea what this is in reference to,
Uh-huh.
but something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking my mom for some money.
What?
Yeah. So I said, well, yeah.
What? She's funny. She's like a cartoon character. You know, an annoying cartoon character. But she is quite funny. What? Hey, thanks so much, Matilda. Great to see you again.
I'm like, first what you're saying, I thought it was like something involved in the IRS or a payment
Yeah.
or something like that. So I don't even know what the fuck it's about at all.
So somebody can like bump into your mom like that?
So they came up to her on the street after she dropped the kids off at school.
Yeah.
I guess she brought them to school. I don't even know.
Another thing Charlie just did is reveal to us how he asks for things that suit his needs. You know, he goes, "Are you somewhere where you can talk to me?" You know, that sounds like he's being considerate of her and what she's doing. Then she's like, "Yeah, you can talk right now." And then it switches to his real intention is like, well, can you just go somewhere where there's not a big loud noise in the background so I can think?
But it must know her routine. It must know who she is.
Yeah.
If they walked up to her, they called her by name. They handed her.
That's exactly how narcissistic personalities get you to like them, guys. Watch out for it. They'll ask something that seems to be about your interests and needs, but really what they've done is mask their own question that's self-serving them and dressed it up in a different way.
Her envelope. And she said they spoke to her for a few minutes. And then she said they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend, which I have no fucking clue what that's about.
Yeah.
And then they explained that they needed to be paid for money.
For what?
I don't know, my mom doesn't even want to talk to me on the phone. Right, look.
But like, did she see the person? Was she like, you should have like,
Oh yeah,
asked her something?
that's what I said. I said, someone's going to try to blackmail you or something.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. You like that.
I said, you got to go straight to the police. And she's like, I don't even know what this is about. I don't want to talk about it. I said, well, take a picture and send me what it is. She's like, I just want you to see the person. So I'm going to go there. I can't even fucking go there today because I won't get out of work until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So she's like, just.
So is Elizabeth stalking your mom?
I don't even fucking know. I don't know what's going on with my mom. I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom. I mean, yeah.
Look what I'm doing.
Let me pause it right there. You say, and I quote, I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom.
I did say that.
What were you asking her?
Are your friends extorting my mom that you know of? Are they up to this?
Now, during this call, you say, I have no idea what this is in reference to. Why do you say that to Katie?
I'm calling her up and talking about something that she'd asked me to never talk about. And I never planned on talking about it. So I wanted to let her know that I wasn't setting her up and that I needed her help. That's why I was calling her up.
And you make reference to an ex-girlfriend, but you're kind of wishy-washy whether she's the ex-girlfriend. Why?
Because I was implying it was her, but I didn't want her to feel like I was setting her up.
She says to you, when you say, I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom. She says, what would I do with your mom? And you say, just checking.
Yep.
Katie seems surprised on this call.
Very.
How did that make you feel?
That made me feel good. It made me feel like it wasn't her friends that were doing it. I mean, she knew when it happened last time. She definitely wasn't acting surprised.
What was your level of concern at this point in time?
It was probably medium. I mean, I was still pretty concerned. My mom didn't sound right on the phone.
Now, there's a call that occurs after this call that is not in evidence, where Katie calls you back. Do you recall what Katie wanted you to do when she called you back?
She wanted me to go down there that night to see my parents.
And did she seem very concerned?
She was extremely concerned when she called me back.
Did you go to see your mom that night?
No, I finished work probably after 10, and I went down there the next afternoon.
Okay, so let's talk about the next day. So just to be clear, the bump happens and these calls happen on April 19th, 2016, right?
Yes.
We're now at April 20th. Where did you meet your mom?
I met her in the lobby of the building.
And did you go anywhere with her?
Yeah, we went for a short walk and ended up sitting on a bench.
What time approximately did you get to Miami and see your mom?
I'd say like 1:30ish,
Okay. Why did you meet her then?
because she wanted to wait for my dad to go to work.
Where did when you walked to this bench? It's outside of a restaurant called Monty's, right? Not far from a restaurant called Monty's.
Yeah, it's right next to Monty's, actually.
Did you notice anyone following you?
No.
As you sit here today, do you know that you were being followed?
Today I did, yeah.
Okay. Now, I think State's Exhibit 54 has been put in evidence. It's a picture of you and your mom on that bench outside of Monty's. Is that a fair depiction of where you were?
Yeah, we were sitting.
There's been testimony, I think, by Special Agent Sanford that you and your mom were whispering or trying not to be heard. Is that testimony true?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted some privacy for sure.
And how was your mom acting?
She was very scared.
What did she tell you?
Well, she told me that she went to go pick the boys up from school, and that this really big guy came over to her and said that you've been helping out Katie and Tuto, and my brother Tato is going through a hard time, and he's incarcerated. And my brother Tato did a big favor for you, and you need to do what's right. You need to take care of my brother Tato. My mom's like, I don't know what you're talking about. The guy handed her a copy of an article, and it had $5,000 written on it, and it also had a cell phone written on it.
At this point in time, did you have any clue whatsoever who Tato was?
No, I've never heard of Tato in my life.
Okay, so let me make sure that we're all on the same page. You knew who Tuto was, right?
Tuto is Sigfredo Garcia.
But you had no idea of anyone named Tato or Luis Rivera, correct?
Never heard of that name before.
Did your mom show you the paper that was given to her?
Yes, she did.
Do you recall if you took the paper with you or whether you wrote down the phone number from the paper?
I don't know whether I took the paper with me or I just took a piece of paper and wrote the phone number down to the paper. One of the two, but I did have the number with me when I left.
Okay. Now, at this point in time, when you're meeting with your mom, what was she concerned about?
I mean, she was concerned that she was going to get hurt and that they were going to hurt her and then someone else in the family was going to pay. And she wanted to go to the police.
What did you tell your mom in response? What was your theory at this point in time?
I was telling my mom this is so different than what happened to me. I said, it could actually. I was actually thinking it could have been Sigfredo Garcia because him and Katie were in this explosive fight, and I always suspected that it was him, and that he's now extorting my mom, and that's what it was. So I thought it could be that. That scared my mom a lot. But then I said, you know what, this is probably the police. I said, it's, they're not telling you 48 hours or you're going to get killed. They're not hiding who they are for the first, even at that point, I only suspected Sigfredo. This guy's not even hiding who he is. He's not wearing a hat. He's not wearing glasses. He's not trying to conceal himself. The first time I wasn't given a cell phone number. This time they're giving cell phone numbers. They're giving names. They're giving all this information. I'm like, Mom, I think this is the police.
What did you tell your mom you were going to do?
I told her that I was going to go ahead and go talk to Katie and see if she thinks that this is possibly, if this is Sigfredo, who I was suspected, and if it is, see if she could get him to stop.
Now, did your mom during this meeting tell you anything about your dad?
Yeah.
What did she say?
She was really worried that her safety was an issue now, and my dad's with her all the time, and she's like, "Look, I know you don't want me to say anything to Dad, but I have to say something to him. Like this has gone too far. I can't not." So I told her, I said, if you tell him, you got to promise not to say anything to Wendy. Please do not let him go to the police. Like this is you're gonna put my life at risk. You're gonna put your life at risk. Like, let me just figure out if Katie could get these people to stop, if she's related to them somehow, and identify them and get them to stop.
Why were you so adamant that she not tell Wendy?
I thought Wendy would go to the police, and I thought my dad would too, but my mom swore that she'd be able to get him not to go.
What did you tell your mom about what you would do with your dad after she told him?
I said, after you tell Dad what's going on, I said, I'll be happy to have him come over to my house, or I'll meet him. I'm sure he's going to have a whole bunch of questions, and I'll talk to Dad tomorrow.
Now, after you left your mom, what did you do next?
I left, and then I drove up to see Katie. She was probably working she was working for a real estate company, and it was about 15 minutes away from my parents' place.
And I think we heard the calls. I'm not going to play them again. Did you call her to find out the address and where to meet her?
I got the address, and then I called her again as I was pulling into the plaza because I'd never been there before, and she walked out of the office that she was working at.
Okay. Now, when you got to her, by the way, where she was working, was it in a strip mall?
Yes.
Okay. When you got there, where was she?
She was standing in front of the I think it was Optimar Realty. She had just come outside so she could wave me down. And
Did you go straight into the restaurant, or did something happen before you went into the restaurant later?
She walked over to the car. I pulled up into a parking spot. She walked over to the car. I wanted to talk to her, so I said, hop in the car. I need to talk to you.
Now, did you know that you were being followed?
No, not at all.
When she got in the car, what did you learn and what happened?
Well, she asked me what happened to my mom, and I told her. And I said, do you think this is T? I said, well, I said, was T behind what happened to me? And she looked at me, she said, yes.
And what did you ask her about the information your mom had received when she was approached on the street?
I asked her if she thought that this was T. Do you think he's doing this to my mom? Because you guys are fighting. Like a week or so earlier, they had this explosive fight because she saw his phone and some girl was sending her text messages of a tattoo that she just got at like 3 a.m. So they were like breaking up. And now that my mom's getting extorted and she's having a fight with him, I'm suspecting that it's him.
Do you bring up the name Tato?
Yes.
What happened when you brought up the name Tato?
I said, have you ever heard of some guy Tato? Like, I thought it was a joke that there's a Tuto and a Tato. Like, have you ever heard of Tato? And she started talking.
What did she say?
She said, yeah, I know Tato. Tato is Tuto's best friend. And she said, he's a bad dude. He's the head of the Latin Kings. She said, they went up to Tallahassee, and he's the one who rented a car, and he's the one who did this to Dan. And off my head's like, I'm freaking out because this is the guy that's now extorting my mom. And I'm like, Katie, is this guy incarcerated? Like, she's like, yeah. I'm like, does he have brothers? She said he's got 4 or 5 brothers, but he's got a couple hundred brothers in the Latin Kings in Miami.
Let's stop there for a second. So why did you ask her if he was incarcerated?
Because the guy who came up to my mom said, my brother Tato is incarcerated. He's going through a hard time. And he needs your help. You need to take care of him the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuto.
Now, When Katie is telling you that there is a Tato, that he's the head of the Latin Kings, that he's incarcerated, and you know he has brothers, what starts going through your mind?
Holy shit, this is real. Like this is real extortion, and it's happening again.
What does Katie tell you about what happened in Tallahassee and who did what?
She told me that T was high on drugs, got fast food. And
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second just to make it clear to the jury. I'm going to ask you, I know she used their nicknames.
Yeah.
Okay? Make that clear. But for the purposes of today, let's use their names so that there's no confusion. Okay?
So,
I understand in the car she used nicknames, either Tato, Tuto, or T. But just for the purposes of today, use their names.
Sure.
Okay? What did she tell you about who did what in Tallahassee?
She said that Sigafredo was high on drugs at the hotel, and that Luis Rivera was the one who shot Dan.
Now, did she tell you that Tato was also behind your extortion or no?
She said that Sigafredo brought him to go do this, and that it was he got paid, but it was the extorter was Sigafredo.
Did she describe to you, you said she described to you about a rental car. Did she describe to you anything about the payments the next day?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She said when she brought the money, she met up with them and she gave the money to Sigafredo and him, and that she didn't touch any of it, and that she didn't take a single dime for herself or anything like that.
Now, when you're hearing this in the car, by the way, how long do you think you were in the car for?
10 to 15 minutes, probably closer to 10.
How are you feeling? And what do you now want to do when you're in the car? You've just told your mom that you think it's the police, that it's all going to be okay. Now you've heard that there is a real Tato. How are you feeling, and what are you thinking about doing at this point in time?
I'm freaking out because I thought it was Sigafredo. Then I'm hearing all this stuff about this guy Tato, his name is Luis Rivera. Everything seeming real. I was extorted. Now my mom's getting extorted. Katie's telling me she doesn't think it's Tato or his people. He wouldn't do it like this. He would have done it the way it happened to me. She's telling me that she thinks it's a copycat of one of Tato's, someone who knows Tato and is doing a copycat on him and doing their own extortion, or it's probably, she thinks it's the police.
Okay. Now, how is she acting in the car?
She's upset. She's very upset.
And you've told her that they used her name, correct?
Yes.
What do you decide to do after she tells you this bombshell information?
Well, I mean, I have more questions than answers. When I got done talking to her in the car, I was more confused than ever. I had told my mom I'm going to talk to Katie and see if her friend is behind this and if she can get him to stop. And now it's like open the door to all these other possibilities and scenarios of what it could be and what to do. So Katie was the only person on the planet that I could talk to about this and see if I could try to get it to stop. So I said, Katie, you want to go inside and get some coffee? And I thought I'd be able to talk to her more and try to see what are we supposed to do.
Now, we know you like to talk. How about when you're scared and trying to figure things out?
I mean, I was freaking out. And I'm trying to figure things out by talking out different scenarios out loud, thinking if it's this, we do this, or if we do this, what'll happen, or if we do this, what'll happen. And that's why it's a lot of it's very jumbled up because I'm all over the place.
Okay. So you decide to go inside and get coffee. Katie agrees with you. And is that when you go into the restaurant called, and I pronounce it wrong, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Dolce Vita?
Yes, it is.
Okay. When you went into the restaurant, who did you think was behind it? Well, let me start by saying something else. You seen the audio of you in that restaurant, right? With Katie.
Yes.
Before that audio started, had you met with Katie in the restaurant for about 20 or 30 minutes?
We've been in there about a half hour talking.
So that audio doesn't capture anything in the beginning of your conversation, right?
Yes.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the conversation. Obviously, it's many years ago. You're not going to remember word for word what was said. But generally, what was Katie telling you and what were you telling Katie?
Katie was saying that it's the police. And I didn't care if it was the police. I was there because it was a bad guy. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is my family really in danger and what should we do? And if they are in danger, what should we do?
Did you know that law enforcement at some point in the conversation started to record you?
No, I thought we were alone.
Now, your conversation with Katie in the restaurant, how were you talking? Were you talking freely or carefully?
No, I always spoke to Katie carefully.
Why was it so important for you to talk carefully to Katie in this restaurant?
Whenever I spoke to Katie, I needed her help. So I never wanted her to feel like I was trying to set her up or set her friends up, and in that regard. So every time I said something or phrased something, I was always really careful in how I spoke to her.
And again, at this point in time, did you have any clue whatsoever that Katie was part of the extortion of you?
No, I did not think she was ever a part of it.
Now, the first thing that is caught on the recording is if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
What were you saying here, and what was it in context to of what had been said before?
Okay, directly before that, Katie was talking about it being the police and that she thinks it's the police. And I'm like, it's fine if it's the police. Like, we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence. Like, if we had anything to do with this, I'd be going to the airport right now. What you're saying is that it's the police. Like, they're not going to have evidence to show that we did something that we didn't do.
Charlie, without getting into all the details that I did with Agent Sanford, this communication at Dolce Vita happened in 2016. You were arrested in 2022. When did you know that the state thought that you had participated in the murder of Professor Markel?
When the probable cause affidavit was released.
And when was that affidavit released approximately?
I think it was leaked to the media, and I saw it in August of 2016.
Did you ever try to flee the country
Never.
after August 2016?
Never.
Why not?
Because I wasn't part of a murder. They weren't going to have any evidence to show I was part of a murder.
Now, you say during Dolce Vita, one second, Your Honor, I'm sorry, lost my spot. Is Dolce Vita a bit of an argument between you and Katie?
Yeah, you could say that.
And what is the argument about?
She's taking the position that it's the police and you can't pay the police. And I wasn't as focused on the police as I was focused on, well, if it's a bad guy, what do we do? Like, we can't go to the police.
Why were you not focused on it being the police?
Because I didn't do a murder. I wasn't worried if it was the police.
Now, if it was a bad guy, what did you want her to do? What did you want Katie to do?
I wanted her to reach out to them and see if she could get them to stop. Maybe threaten them. Maybe she could pay them. Maybe she could tell them she's going to pay them. It's a one-time thing. I want to see if she could identify them and get them to stop.
Why did you want her to do that as opposed to you doing that?
She knew who the original people were. She knew Sigfredo. She knew this guy, Luis Rivera, and she'd be the only person who'd be able to identify them and get them to stop, and maybe they'd be afraid of her.
Now, throughout this recording, several times you try to sound tough. Is that the case?
Absolutely.
You say, I carry a gun on me, right?
Yes, I said that.
I mean, someone comes up to me. If someone comes up to me, they better be ready to shoot because I'm going to shoot them. Someone come up to me asking for money in my house. When the fucking police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his fucking driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me. I'll take a break right there. Why are you talking tough?
I want to let her know, like, I've had enough. Like, and they're messing with my mom. They messed with me. Like, I've literally just had enough, and I'm trying to send that message.
Why do you bring up a gang member?
Because 45 minutes earlier, when I was sitting in the car with Katie, she told me that Luis Rivera was the head of the Latin Kings, and that's who the second extortion was, a Latin King gang member who was extorting my parents, which was actually the FBI, but it was.
Immediately after you say those lines, though, you say, and I'm not going to talk anyway. Why do you say that? You're being tough, and then you say, and I'm not going to talk anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because I didn't want to scare her into thinking that I'm some kind of loose end, that at any point was I going to the police. I was making it clear that at no point I was going to the police.
You then say, Katie, this is not like some chick showing tattoos to your man. What are you talking about here?
That was in reference to their explosive fight that would send her and Sigfredo in opposite directions, and I was thinking that he was behind what had happened to my mom. I thought he was just sending a third party to collect.
And what are you trying to tell Katie to do?
I'm telling her to call this person and to contact them and see if she can get them to stop.
Now, you then say, they're not going away. I may wish they'd go away, but they're not going away. And then there's a bunch of unintelligibles, and there's a line that says, that you say, well, with a beard or a badge. Do you have any idea what you were talking about there?
I think we were talking about, is it a police officer or a bad guy?
And again, well, who would be the beard?
The beard would be a bad guy.
And who, again, was Katie trying to convince you it was?
She was trying to convince me it's the police.
Now, we've seen this conversation live, although we can't hear all of it. Are you doing more of the talking or more of the listening?
I'm doing the thinking out loud than talking.
You're not really listening to her at all, right?
No.
You again say, listen, if a badge comes up to you, tell them, have a nice day, officer. And she says, yeah, no, perfect. You say, if not, I don't talk to cops. Sorry. And she says, yeah, no, perfect. What are you saying to Katie here?
I'm reassuring her that I'm keeping my mouth shut and I'm not going to the police and I'm not trying to set her up. But I wanted her to see if maybe make a payment.
Now, you say this person is not, this is after her long unintelligible. You say, well, Katie, this person is not going away. They came very equipped with details. What details are you talking about here?
They know about my payment to her with the checks. They know about the payment.
You then go on a bunch of long discussions about DNA in a rental car. Why do you bring up a rental car?
Because 40 minutes earlier, I was sitting in a car with her and she was telling me that Luis Rivera rented a car.
And during these long discussions, you're talking about how you don't really know anything. You, Charlie, doesn't really know anything. Why are you telling her repeatedly that you don't know anything?
I'm trying to reassure her that I'm harmless and that I don't have any real knowledge of what went on, and that, I'm not some loose end that you guys need to go try to clean up.
Now, you then say, they said the guy's name was Tuto. I don't even know who the fuck it is. Did you know who Tuto was?
I knew who Tuto was.
Was this you confusing the names Tuto and Tato?
That's exactly what it was. I was getting the names mixed up.
And she asks you to describe what he looked like, right?
Yes.
And you say, some of it's unintelligible, but you say, well-spoken, like polite. She goes, polite and well-spoken. I said, did he act thug, or did he have talk with like a thick Spanish accent or anything? She said, no. I said, was he white or Hispanic? She said he was white, but he could have been Hispanic. Why were these facts important to you and Katie?
Because I was comparing the original extortion that I had to the person that's extorting my mom to see if they fit the description.
And she says, so recognizable. And you say, with no glasses, no hat, very well dressed. And she says, well dressed? As you're talking about this, what are the both of you trying to figure out?
We're trying to figure out, is this related to, is this real extortion or is this the police?
And what is Katie telling you of why she doesn't think this is real extortion and why she thinks it's the police?
Because of how it's being done. And these people wouldn't do it this way. But it still opened up the door to her where she said it could be a copycat and somebody just trying to piggyback the extortion and make it their own.
Now, you say to her, every time she's telling you it's the police, you kind of push back. Why do you push back?
The whole purpose of me being there with her was not to hear if it was the police. I needed her help if it wasn't the police.
10 minutes and 28 seconds into the recording, not the meeting, but the recording. The following thing is what you say. They didn't mention my name, which makes me think that these people only know part of the story, or they think they know part of the story. What are you telling Katie here?
I'm saying they didn't mention my name. They don't even know I was extorted, and that they only know part of the story. They know about the checks that my mom was writing to you, or they think they know part of the story. They don't realize that was payment for an extortion, not payment for a murder.
So whoever's doing this thinks that you did a murder because they don't know that you were extorted.
Exactly.
And by the way, isn't that exactly what the bump is?
The bump is an extortion.
But isn't the bump designed in a way that they thought you did part of a murder, and the responses they got, they didn't understand because they only knew part of the story.
That's exactly it.
You then say, when everybody was there the next day, did you take any money? It's not like you're driving around in a Bentley, cruising around in a mega yacht. Someone, he must at some point, because otherwise he would have no idea I had anything to do with. First of all, remind the jury, how did you know what happened on July 19th, and when did you learn that?
In July 19th, July 18th.
How did you know about the money drop? Let me ask that question.
Okay. Katie told me that the next day she brought the money to Luis and Sigfredo Garcia.
When did she tell you that?
She told me that in the car 30 minutes earlier.
Now, when you're asking this question, who is the everybody that you are referring to?
Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera.
What are you confirming here, and why?
That she's not a part of it. I mean, she's broke. I was being sarcastic when I'm like, you're not cruising around in a mega yacht or driving a Bentley. Like, her card's getting declined at Old Navy, and she's borrowing $300 from me. So I didn't think she was a part of it. I didn't think at the time that she took any of that money. So that's why I said it like that, is that you didn't take any of the money next day. And they're saying that, like, I'm helping you out. So I'm thinking that, like, Sigfredo must have said something to Luis about the little things that I do to help you out with, lending you money. I gave her a car with 160,000 miles on it. Sigfredo must have said something to Luis, and then maybe one of his people is now trying to extort my family.
And in response, what does she say to you? Who does she say it is?
She thinks it's the police.
And so then you say to her, it could. I wish that it was a cop playing games. Why did you wish it was a cop playing games?
Because then it meant that my mom wasn't being extorted by Latin King gang members.
You say, and I'm not involved. You recall saying that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you specifically mention the word extortion in Dolce Vita? Why didn't you say, Katie, why are these the same people that did to me? These are the same people that are doing this to my mom that did it to me back in July of 2014. Why didn't you just say that in this recording?
I was being real careful when I spoke to Katie. I would never say the word extortion to her.
Why not?
I would get zero help, and she'd think I was setting her up.
And what were you most concerned about at this point in time?
I was most concerned about the gang member that's now extorting my mom, and also about trying to get Katie to help me to stop it.
Again, you say, if it's a cop, I'm happy because I've got nothing to hide. You say that at least 3 times. Why do you tell her that?
Because she keeps on saying that it's the police. And I'm not worried about if it's the police. I'm worried about if it's a gang member and that's coming after my mom.
And as she's pushing back that she doesn't want to make the payment or reach out to the person, you then bring up, it's going to put a spotlight in the investigation. You start talking about the FBI and BBC News. First of all, what investigation are you talking about?
The murder investigations of Dan Markel.
And why are you trying to tell Katie that this is going to put a spotlight on this investigation? What are you why are you trying to tell her that?
I'm trying to tell her that this is a big deal. Like, if we go to the police on the second extortion, they're going to catch the second extortion. And when they catch them, they're going to turn, and second extortion is going to turn in the first extortion. And then when you catch the first extortion, the police are going to come talk to us. And then when we tell them what happened, you're going to be in a lot of danger. There's no way I can talk to the police. So by catching the second, it's going to turn in the first. And that's exactly what I say in there.
Now, you tell her that you want her to give the guy the money, right?
Yes.
And she, again, what's her reaction to that?
She's like, you can't pay the cops. They're going to arrest you. They're going to think you're a part of it.
And so then you give a long-winded explanation of what she can say that won't incriminate herself, right?
Or make the police come talk to her. So I was saying, just tell them that you don't know anything.
Again, what are you trying to convince her to do?
Make a payment.
And she's refusing, right?
Yeah.
You say, that's all I was able to come up with. If it's the police, they can't take the money. They can't take the money. They won't even come meet you. If it's this guy, maybe in the back of he knows, unintelligible, fuck off, unintelligible, and that now he's fucking with his wife, and if he's fucking with him, you fuck with the king himself, you'd better kill him because he's going to be a big problem. What are you trying to say to her here?
I'm saying that maybe if you go and contact these people, they're going to know who you are. And they're going to realize, they'll know that your husband is Sigfredo Garcia. Sigfredo is about as scary of a guy as you can meet. And if Sigfredo has a problem with you, the only thing you could do to stop Sigfredo if he wants to come after you is to kill Sigfredo. So I wasn't talking about killing him, but I was saying if he knows who you are, he's going to be a big problem. So the only way they could stop Sigfredo is if they killed him, because he's a dangerous guy.
And is that precisely why you wanted her to be contacting this person?
Yeah, because they would know who her husband is. They would cut it out.
You then say, and so help me God, if they fuck with my family, it's going to be like that Nazi shit because this will be done. Who used that terminology with you?
That was an expression that Katie would use. She would say like this Nazi shit, like to go crazy on somebody. And that was a term that she would use. And I used it back to her. And it meant, I was saying like, listen, like I'm trying to sound tough also. So I said, listen, I'm going to get somebody to go crazy on this person and get them to stop. Like this needs to end.
You say, I don't care what I have to spend. Ms. Kappelman asked one of the witnesses, aren't you admitting to doing a murder for hire here?
Absolutely not. I'm saying that I'll get somebody to act and go crazy on who's ever doing this and get them to stop. I mean, I'm not a scary guy like Sigfredo Garcia is. So I was trying to sound intimidating.
You then say, he doesn't have any bad feelings towards me, does he? Our paths never cross. I didn't know that the two of you would be working out. Why do you ask this?
Because I'm saying, like, I've been compliant. I've been paying every single month. It's not like I didn't do anything to him. I was still thinking maybe it could be him that's doing this, as I was saying it.
Now, in the video, you see Katie leaving the table for a bit, right?
Yes.
She leaves for about 2 minutes. And what happens when she leaves, before she comes back?
It's probably the first 2 minutes in the last 45 or 50 minutes that I stopped talking and just sat there and started thinking about everything that we've been talking about.
And as you're sitting there and thinking about it, what goes through your mind? What do you realize?
I just start thinking again about how different this is, and that the person's not hiding who they are. You know, there's no, I'm going to kill you in 48 hours. They're giving lots of information. You know, this is not the same people.
When she comes back, you give her the number, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember if you gave her a piece of paper, or if do you have any recollection of whether you gave her a piece of paper or she wrote down a number, or whether do you have any idea, any memory this many years later?
No, I think I may have just said it to her verbally or given her paper. I don't remember sitting here today.
Okay. And then you immediately start talking about how the guy didn't have glasses or a hat. Why was that the first thing that you started talking to her about when she came back?
Because I was thinking, like, for 2 years, I had no idea. You know, nothing was confirmed and the identity was hidden. It was just her friend. Now, all of a sudden, this guy shows up and he's not even taking the precaution of trying to hide his identity. He has no problem showing his face.
And at this point in time, when she comes back, who do you think is behind this?
I'm coming around to her way of thinking that it's probably the police, and a small chance that it's some sort of copycat, but more than likely it's just the police. It's the police.
What do you ask her to do?
I still ask her to call the number just in the chance that, like, hey, if I'm wrong and it's not the police and it turns out to be somebody that really is dangerous, like I'm betting my mom's life on it being the police. So at least just call and make it so, for that peace of mind, that we confirm it is what we think it is.
At the end of the recording, you see that you're actually joking about something.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel at the end of your meeting with her in Dolce Vita?
No, I feel much better. I mean, I'm back to the way I started when I came out there, is that I was thinking it was probably the police, and I felt even more likely it was the police after I got done with meeting with her.
Now, when you repeatedly say during this recording that you hope it's the police, did you understand that if it was the police, they thought they would be thinking that you were part of a murder?
Correct.
So why were you hoping it was the police?
Well, I wasn't part of a murder. And if it was the police, it meant there was no danger. Nobody's going to get hurt. And there's no danger to anyone in my family.
Judge, I'm going to move on to another topic.
Before you do that, members of the jury, does anyone need to take a break? Please raise your hand. We will take a brief break. For the next 10 minutes, we'll resume a little bit after 3:30.
I'll find you.
All right. You can step back down with your attorneys if you need to confer with them. We'll get started again in about 10 minutes.
Judge, we're going to try to fix the computer so I can.
other things.
You can come back to the witness stand. Everyone can be seated. Are they done in the restroom?
They had two left about 10 minutes ago, so I would like to believe them.
Okay. Mr. Rashbaum, time check. Where are we at in said examination?
I'm not sure you want to know.
I noticed before you had a script that it looked like you were a quarter, half the way through.
The script is deceiving, but
Uh-huh.
I don't anticipate that this will end today. It may.
That much more ground to cover. All right. Once we get into tomorrow, how long?
I think that would be a better question after today. No, look, we're going chronologically, right? So we just finished Dolce Vita.
Yes.
There are a couple calls I'm going to play that are coming up, but then I'm going to play very few calls.
All rise, jury entering the courtroom.
Everyone can be seated. Mr. Rashbaum, you may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Judge, at this time, I would like to move in Defendant's Exhibit 58, which are selected text messages on July 18th that we discussed earlier.
Very well. Any objection from the state other than what's already been made?
No, Your Honor.
Admitted over objection, you may proceed with publishing.
I don't need to publish those. Thank you, though, Your Honor.
Very well.
Do you remember what you did when you left Dolce Vita?
Yes, I do.
And what did you do?
I got in the car and I called my mom up on the phone.
Where was your mom when you called her?
I think she was at the city park.
Now, throughout this call, you don't mention Katie's name. Why don't you mention her name?
I think I was just always just being careful, but I mean, there was no big deal. My mom knew that I was going to go meet Katie, and I just spoke in general terms.
You tell your mom that everything is fine. What are you telling your mom when you tell her that?
I'm letting her know that it's the police, because that's how I left it when I left my meeting with my mom before I went crazy and I heard all about Luis Rivera. I'm letting my mom know, like, everything's fine. It's the police.
At the end of this call, there's discussion about cheerleading and Passover. What is your level of concern when you have this call with your mom?
I believe that there is no danger to my family at this time. We're very minimal.
Now, do you recall that the call got cut off? Well, let me say it differently. Withdraw the question, Your Honor. Do you recall that your mom, on the end of this call, had to call you back?
Yes.
And do you recall that about 5 minutes later, she did call you back?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Judge, at this point in time, I'd like to play State Exhibit G.
You may proceed.
And this is a call between you and your mom at 5:06 on April 20th. I don't hear anything.
Test your equipment again.
I didn't do it. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Hi, honey. Sorry about that. I had to just schedule.
Nothing in the headphones now.
I think it's clear on the speakers, but I guess play it once again. Hold your thumbs up if you can hear it clearly over the speaker.
Yeah.
Hi, honey. Sorry about that. I had to just schedule it for Monday because she was leaving.
Yeah.
So,
There is.
How about on the speakers? I know you can't hear it on the headphones.
You just want it to be a little bit louder on the speaker, you're saying? I'm not Bill Nye the Science Guy. I'm not sure why we can't get this to work from call to call, but
You unplug it again? No. Let's see if everyone can hear it without the headphones.
can you turn up the speaker?
It's at max capacity.
Oh, okay.
Which is lower than my voice, as we all know.
Except for when you're excited.
Exactly.
Good. I just so I hung out with my friend, and then she's gonna sleep on some stuff, and then she's gonna come tomorrow to either my office or Thanos' office and tell me how it works. How she thought about it.
okay.
So I'm still. So I'll talk to her tomorrow. I wish her the best of luck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, you think she'll be okay? You think everything will
Yeah.
be good for her?
I told her. I mean, I was explaining to you with relationships, they either go one or two ways. Like it's,
Right.
So it's going to be one or two ways. So,
Yeah. Well,
but that's
how you want it.
yeah.
No, it would be best for her. Yes, honey, you can. All right, Charlie. I love you,
What
darling.
are they? Yeah, you're welcome. So
Yeah, just hoping Dad has a good day at the office.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I like him to have a good night's sleep. So
Yeah.
he works on a long day. Wednesday's a long day.
But I truly would not worry about anything.
Wait a second, Lincoln, honey. This little girl is on now. Come here, honey. Wait till she finishes, and then you'll go on. You don't think so?
Yeah, no, without a doubt, I wouldn't.
Okay, I hope so.
There's nothing to worry about.
No.
No.
So you'll be up at the office. You'll be at our office all day tomorrow.
From 11 to probably by 3, I'm going to be gone.
Oh, really? I'm done for the day?
Well, then I go to Thanos' office.
Oh, no, Santa. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I hate this area of like Ives Dairy and 95.
Very crowded.
Oh my God, the traffic. So to go from like, I mean, literally for me to go from like, on Biscayne to like all the way to like 95, it's the same amount of time it takes me to go from my house to South Beach.
Wow.
Just east-west. It's quicker for me to go to South Beach from Fort Lauderdale than to be in Miami and go to the highway. I mean, it's just like 2 schools and everything. So, all right.
That's the they're swinging. I'm pushing as high as I can, and that's the squeak of the swing.
All right.
So I'm pushing them. The old grandma. Oh my gosh. All right, I love you.
Yeah, you probably feel, but I would worry about absolutely nothing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I would not.
Well, if your theory is correct, then that'll be, we don't know that.
Well, listen, I mean, it's you have to realize something. It does them no good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's nothing. They're not going to gain anything. They're still going to be in the same situation. It's not like you've ever threatened anybody or hurt anybody. So
no, I know that.
And listen, the thing is that they're not hiding who they are.
Right. Not at all.
Not at all. So.
When you call your mom back, there's a reference to Harvey. Harvey's your dad, right?
Yes.
There's a reference to hoping, your mom says she hopes Harvey had a good day at the office. She'd like him to have a good night's sleep. What did you understand this to be a reference to?
My dad's about to find out what had happened to me 2 years earlier and what's happening to my mom now.
You're telling your mom repeatedly in this call that not to worry about anything. Why are you telling her not to worry about anything?
Because my mom was worried that a gay member was going to come and hurt her, or somebody was trying to extort her for money.
Now, you then say, not like you ever threatened anyone or hurt anyone, and you say, she says to you, well, if your theory is correct, what was your theory? Well, first of all, when did you go over your theories with each other?
When I saw my mom 2 hours before this call was placed.
And what was your theory and what was her theory?
My theory was that it's the police. My mom's theory was that it's a bad guy and they're going to hurt one, and then somebody else in the family is going to pay the money. And that this was a serious threat and her life's in danger.
You then start talking about, again, how there were no threats, no disguise. Why are you telling this to your mom?
I'm telling my mom that this is so different. It can't be the same person. It can't be the same people that are behind my extortion that are behind her extortion.
Moving on to State Exhibit H. Now, State Exhibit H is a call that's in evidence between Sigfredo Garcia and Katie Magbanua. Do you recall listening to that call?
Yes, I do.
Now, you obviously weren't on the call initially, right?
I was never on that call.
On the call, you can hear them fighting, and Sigfredo is refusing to make the phone call, right?
Yes.
Again, what had you discussed with Katie at Dolce Vita? What were you hoping that she would do?
That she would at least make the phone call, even though we were pretty sure it was the police. I mean, there's still a chance that you're wrong, and this is a copycat who doesn't realize that I was extorted, and they're running their own extortion off of and chasing down my mom.
The next day is now April 21st. And the state put in State's Exhibit J. And this is a 22-minute call between you and Katherine Magbanua. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Was this the first time that you spoke with Katie after your meeting at Dolce Vita?
Yes, it is.
On this call, are you asking to meet with her?
Yes, I want to see her.
And how is she responding to meeting with you?
She's blowing me off. I'm trying to have her come to my office. I'm trying to have her come to the second office I'm at. She can't find it in her time to come meet me.
And when she seems that way, are you offering to pay for some things for her, like helping her get a hotel room and the keys?
Yeah, and that was actually even before the bump. She had asked me for something, and I said, sure, I'll do it for you. And it was a $300 hotel room. But that was before the bump. But yes.
Now, during this call, Katie starts talking about investments in properties. Do you remember that?
I do.
When she starts talking about the investments in the properties, at first, do you have any idea what she's talking about?
I have no clue what she's talking about.
So in this trial, there's been a lot of talk about code. And the government has a nice little cheat sheet as to what they believe the various code words were. Did you and Katie ever discuss any code words?
There was never any code discussed.
But it's fair to say that when you're speaking on the phone with Katie and when you're speaking on the phone with your mom, you're talking very carefully.
Extremely carefully.
And for different reasons, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about why you're talking carefully with Katie. What was the reason why you continued to talk very carefully on the phone with Katie?
I didn't want Katie to think that I was setting her up.
Now, when you say you didn't want her to think that you were setting her up, at this point in time, you didn't think she was part of any murder or any extortion, right?
Correct.
So how would you be setting her up?
Well, she's tied to the people who murdered Dan Markel, and I'm tied to her. So if I went to the police, I would be calling her up and trying to get them caught, and I'd be talking in a much more blunt way.
And what are you afraid of if she thinks that you're setting her up? There's probably a couple things you're afraid of, but what are some of those things that you're afraid of?
The number one thing is I'd get killed because they think I'm a loose end.
Okay, what's the number two thing?
Number two thing is I'd get zero help. She would help me with nothing.
And help in finding out what?
Who's behind the second extortion of my mom?
Now, ultimately, during this call, you figure out what she's talking about with properties, right?
As she goes, I'm catching on to some of her lingo.
She says to you, I was talking to someone. Do you think that would be a good investment? He was like, no, that is a really stupid. You should really use your head. What did you understand her to be saying? Who is the he?
Well, by this time, she was back with her ex-husband, and I assumed that person to be Sigfredo Garcia.
Did you assume her to be saying to you, he doesn't want to make the phone call at this point?
No.
Now, she says, but he is going to look into a couple things, a couple of properties, and find out what's going on. And then I'll go from there because you can't just jump into a place you don't even know. What did you understand her to be telling you here?
She was saying that she's going to look into it. You just can't pay extortion. You don't even know who the person is.
She then says later in the call that she thinks that the property was posted incorrectly. She also says that she thinks it's a false lead.
Mm-hmm.
What did you understand her to be saying to you at that point in time?
She's trying to tell me that this is the police. This is not real extortion. And that's pretty much what she was saying, exactly what she was saying the day before.
She says it's one of two scenarios. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. What did you understand her to be saying were the two scenarios?
Well, the first one is the police, where she's like, you can't pay the police. And the second one would have been a copycat extorter, but not being possibly Luis Rivera or Sigfredo Garcia.
In response, you say, the thing is that property came with full listing, everything but pictures. What are you saying here?
I'm saying that this extortion came with so much information. And that was the thing with the first extortion on July 18th, is that I had no information. Even when I guessed, the person wouldn't say, she just said, no, I'm not going to tell you.
And so the fact that it came with everything but the pictures, what did that make you feel it was?
That it was more than likely law enforcement. I mean, they were giving you phone numbers, they were giving you names, they weren't trying to hide who they were. It had to be, it more than likely was law enforcement, but it's still a small chance. It could have been a copycat extorter.
15 minutes and 45 seconds in this call. She says, I did some research. I will find out more. I don't want anyone to take advantage of you. How was she acting?
Like she was protecting me, and she was trying to help.
And incidentally, what did you think she was doing for you for the past 20 months since the extortion that occurred on July 18th?
I thought she was protecting me.
You then start talking with her about other types of real estate. Was this real estate at this point?
There was some real talk about real estate because she was working in a real estate company.
And you tell her that you'll lend her money for her real estate career?
Yeah, she once asked me if she ever found a good place, would I lend the money and go in partnership with her? And I always said if you found the right deal, I would, but we never spoke any specifics beyond that.
And you talked to her about helping her out with her car?
Yeah.
Why were you offering to help Katherine Magbanua out with her real estate career and her car, and saying that at this point in time?
I didn't think that she was benefiting from the extortion of me at all. She always told me she never took any money. Her credit cards were getting declined at Old Navy. She's borrowing money. I thought that she got dragged into this in the same way I got dragged into this.
Now, the next call that's in evidence is K. And this is April 21 at, I believe, 11 o'clock a.m. One moment, Your Honor.
Take your time.
This is a call between you and your mom, correct?
Yes.
And this is the first call since the call that we just heard where your mom is swinging the boys at the park, right?
Right.
Now, there's a discussion on this call about meeting with your dad. Why were you going to meet with your dad?
Well, I knew the night of the 20th, my mom was going to tell my dad what had happened to me and what's happening to her now. And I knew my dad was going to want to talk to me and find out what's going on. So I told my mom, listen, I'll talk to dad when he wants to talk to me tomorrow. Just have him meet me.
50 seconds into this call, which again, I don't think we need to play it, is K. You say, I saw a lot of police everywhere giving traffic tickets, so be careful. Anyway, that's who I think it is for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons. What are you telling your mom here?
I'm telling my mom, be careful where you talk about this. I don't want the police to know that I know anything or that I was extorted. They're going to come talk to you. So please be careful. be careful where you talk.
And when your mom responds again on the earlier call, well, that's good if your theory is correct. What do you understand your mom to be hoping for?
My mom was hoping it was the police.
Now, after this call, you have a call with your dad, and where do you all decide to meet for dinner?
I was originally going to just have my dad come by my house, but I was working late, and I told my dad I'll meet him at like a halfway point between my place and his place, and I met him for sushi down in Miami.
And let's talk about Matsuri.
Okay.
Did you go to the restaurant straight from work?
Yes, I did.
Who got there first?
I think my dad was there before me.
When you got there, could you all get a table right away?
No, it was 9 at night, but the place was packed.
Where did you go when you couldn't get a table?
We waited for about 15 minutes and told the person seating people that we'll just take a seat at the bar. Take 2 seats at the bar if you can.
Before you got seats at the bar, did you go anywhere to talk with your dad?
Yeah, we put our name down and we were just sitting outside the restaurant on a bench.
Did you notice anyone around you?
No.
As a result, were you able to talk freely?
Yeah.
Without going into the whole discussion again, what did you discuss generally with your dad?
I told him what had happened to me, and I told him that I thought it was the police that were doing this to Mom, and that this is just so different.
Now, was it clear to you when you met with your dad in the outside of the restaurant that your mom had told him everything by that point in time?
She told him everything.
Was it clear that he knew that this was related to Katherine Magbanua?
Yes.
Now, at this point in time, I want to emphasize this point in time, did your mom or your dad know anything about Tato being in prison, confirmation that Sigfredo Garcia was the extorter? Did they know anything about that?
Well, the undercover had told my mom that Tato was incarcerated, but aside from that, everything that I found out at lunch the day before, or meeting with Katie after I saw my mom, I hadn't spoken to my mom about it, so she knew none of that.
Now, was your dad upset with you?
He wanted to know why didn't I come to him, and I said, Dad, I thought if I went to you, I didn't think I'd be able to stop you from going to the police. I don't think you would have realized the danger that I was in, and the family you would be putting the family in. So I didn't want to tell anybody. The only reason I told Mom was because when I ended up picking up the checks from her, when she found out.
He now knows, though, right? He knows as of the evening of April 20th when your mom tells him, but he knows as of Matsuri.
Yes.
Does he say to you, Charlie, I got to go to the police?
No, I think my mom scared him pretty good.
And when you spoke to him, was he behind you in not going to the police?
Yeah, I mean, he understood why I didn't go. I mean, he understood how serious it was. This was not a small threat.
Did you tell him outside the restaurant before you go in to eat that you were pretty sure it was the police?
Yeah, and I went through all the reasons that we've spoken about, that it was. I was fairly certain it was the police.
Now, you end up getting seated at the restaurant, and where do they seat you?
They seat us at the sushi bar. So
Now, Matsuri, it's a pretty authentic Japanese sushi restaurant, right?
Yeah, it's in a strip shopping center, but you go in there and like half the people are Japanese. It's very authentic.
At first, did you notice anyone sitting next to your dad?
No, we just sat at the bar. It was just the two of us.
Later, did you notice someone?
Yes, a gentleman comes over and sits down next to my dad.
Now, before we get into some of the details, did anything initially strike you as very weird about this person who was sitting next to your dad? What was the first thing that struck you as being kind of off?
He was very rude.
How was he rude?
Well, I mean, we're sitting there. We got our dinner plates at the sushi bar. They serve you your food, and so your dinner plate's there, and your drinks are there. And he comes over, and he plops this big bag down right next to my dad's dinner plate. And it's like, you don't put your belongings on the dinner table. And it just struck me. I looked at the guy. He put his belongings down and his keys, and it's like sitting next to my dad's plate. I'd never seen that done like that before.
And that was off to you, right?
Yeah, I just thought the guy was rude. He was off, yeah.
I want to take you back to before you saw the guy. You've seen the recording. Was there some discussion between you and your dad before the recording that the jury has?
Yes.
Okay. But the recording starts with you almost mid-sentence saying, I can even tell you he's at Giant Stadium. Do you remember that?
I do.
What are you talking about there?
I'm saying that we're talking about it being the police, and I'm saying the police are just following a lead that's not true.
Now, are you actually using the word police?
No.
You then say it's not done. By the way, what's the reference to Giant Stadium?
Supposedly some guy, Jimmy Hoffa, who got killed years ago, was buried in the end zone of Giant Stadium. So the police went and dug up the end zone thinking that he was there because somebody said it. So they investigated it, but it was never true.
Now, you then say it's not done like that. What were you telling your dad was not done like that?
The extortion wasn't done like it was done to me. It's being done to my mom. That's not how it's done.
And you do this twice, but at 50 seconds into the recording, you say, and the funny thing is, and you whisper something in your dad's ear.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't know the exact words, but what did you whisper into your dad's ear?
I was saying they don't realize I was extorted the first time, and this is the same thing that's getting done. Then the second time I say, this is like, the funny thing is, this is like deja vu.
We're going to get to that.
Okay, sorry.
Then there is talk about why they didn't go to Wendy. And why did you think they didn't go to Wendy?
I think they didn't go to Wendy because the police already spoke to her.
And Harvey asks you if Katie agrees with you. Agrees with you about what?
That it's the police.
Throughout the video, you're seen repeatedly looking at the guy next to your dad.
Yes.
Why are you looking at him the second time? What piques your attention next?
Well, the waitress came over, and the first thing he said to her is, "What kind of salads do you have here?" And she even just looked at him. I mean, it's like, it's a sushi bar. You come here to eat sushi, and it's not a place where you come in and you're like, "What kind of salads do you have here?" And then when I looked at him, he looked at me, and then he ordered his salad, and he ordered a California roll. So I was like, this guy really doesn't like sushi, and he's coming into a sushi restaurant at 9 o'clock at night by himself. It seems really odd.
Now, you then say again at some point, and the funny thing is, and it's unintelligible after. Do you think you know what you said at that point?
I said, this is like deja vu.
You're then eating and you say to your dad, I think there's a recorder in the bag. Your dad asks whether they can do that, and you say they can with a warrant. Why did you think there was a recorder in the bag, and who did you think was sitting next to your dad?
I mean, the way the guy ordered his food, I mean, he clearly doesn't like sushi, and he's sitting in a sushi restaurant, and then he's sitting there with this bag on a table next to our dinner plate. He's either the rudest guy ever, or could be a police officer, or I could be just completely wrong, and he is just a rude guy.
And so what happens after, as Ms. Kappelman says, he was made? What happens after you realize that he is a police officer, or someone, you have suspicions that he's a police officer?
Yeah, we no longer talk about the extortion.
Why don't you talk about it? What would be the problem with the police knowing about the extortion, the first extortion?
It's the same reason I didn't go to the police the night of July 18th, is that I was worried about my life, my family's life. And I bounced back and forth between should I go, should I not go? And every time I went through the pros and cons, I mean, it wasn't going to bring Dan back. The people who did this don't care about killing someone in the middle of the day. I mean, there's not a question, especially sitting here and seeing Luis Rivera come in, and I know who Sigfredo Garcia is. I don't think these guys would have cared. I think they would have killed me.
Now, after dinner, you leave the restaurant and you go in the parking lot, right?
Yes.
And you thought you were going to just go to your cars. Your dad walks you to your car first, and what happens?
We're just talking, and he's asking me a few more questions, and then he asked me about who's Tato. Like, what's the story with him? Did Katie know who Tato is?
And at that point in time, for the first time, did you tell your dad what you had learned in the car with Katie the day before?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm not holding anything back from my parents, and I told my dad that, yeah, Dad, Tato's a real person, and he's the head of the Latin Kings of Miami, and he's the one who killed Dan.
When you tell your dad that, how does he react?
He's like, look, you think it's the police, why not, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, let's just go to the police now. Don't you think that's the safest thing to do? And I said, absolutely not. I mean, these people are connected. They know other people out there. I didn't go to the police originally. I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, I said, I think it's the police, so there's nobody's going to get hurt. And he's like, well, what if you're wrong?
And did this discussion go back and forth for a while?
Yeah, because I mean, what do you say when someone says, what if you're wrong? I mean, you're going to get killed.
What did you tell him you would continue to do?
I said, listen, I'm going to talk to Katie. I'm going to, hopefully she'll come by and see me tomorrow, or I'll talk to her and see if she's reached out to these people and to see if it is legitimate extortion or if it's just the police.
Did you again go over with your dad all the reasons why you were sure it wasn't the police?
That it was the police.
I'm sorry, that it was the police.
Yeah. At that point, I did. I rehashed everything again and went through everything that we discussed.
And at the end of leaving the restaurant, what did your dad agree to?
He agreed not to go to the police.
The next day, you speak with your mom, correct? This is April 22nd.
Yes, I do.
This is defense exhibit. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm a little confused. Hold on a second. His call is not in evidence. On this call, just to refresh your memory so that we don't have to play it. Well, let me first offer it into evidence. Judge, it's labeled Defense Exhibit 100. It's a call between Donna Adelson and Charlie Adelson on April 22nd. It's State Call 1695. We would move it into evidence.
Any objection from the state?
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, the bailiff is going to escort you to the jury room. I'm going to listen to the call. Everyone can be seated. You can play the call, please.
Would you like me to play the full call or just the part that I plan on publishing?
Well, how long is the call itself?
Let me check. The call is 15 minutes long, 15 minutes and 11 seconds long.
All right. Well, I believe the context of the call is really going to matter here, but how long is the portion that you plan to publish?
I plan on starting at around 5 minutes and 50 seconds in and going till I think I could stop it at around 7:30.
All right. Go ahead and just start it from the beginning.
From the beginning of the call, 15.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I started. Right on the
Well, I guess it's a good thing when you're not hearing voices, but I do actually need to hear the voices to get through this issue.
I really hate computers.
Only on the phone. We'll just say hello to him. Charlie, hold on a second, okay?
Can you rewind at the beginning, Ms. Dugan?
Hey, sweetheart, how are you?
Good, what's going on?
Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Dad.
How are you?
Good, what's going on?
Not too much. I got the boys finishing up a computer show. You finished? Good. Shut it off, Lincoln. Go brush your teeth, and I got to get Ben. Ben, go brush your teeth now. Ben, go brush your teeth. All right? I got Uncle Charlie on the phone. You want to just say hello to him? Charlie, hold on a second, okay?
Okay. Hey, sweetheart, how are you?
Good, what's going on?
Well, you know. You know.
Any
No.
more drama?
No, I had busy day. I got up early and cooking a lot of stuff for the Seder for tomorrow. And then no, Ben, go to Grandpa and get your teeth brushed. What? One second. Hot Wheels? Really? Okay, Lincoln, go get your teeth brushed, baby. And then we went to the courthouse. It was very nice. We met Wendy's judge.
Oh, nice.
She is like your next door neighbor.
Really?
She had said that all along because I remember the other judge she worked for. Whoa.
Really?
Impossible, very difficult woman. This guy is like,
Like Bud?
Yeah, just like your neighbor, just sitting, friendly, talking, kidding about how, because one of the guys there, this black guy named Charlie, is with the girl now, and he's pretty serious. So he's saying, yeah, we've all been trying to tell him, secret to a happy marriage. He says, I'm married, I don't know, 30 years or something, this judge. He says, secret to a happy marriage is yes, dear, it all works. He says, actually, what really works is you're right. Yes, dear. So he said, it's worked for me. He said, I'm happy. I've got 2 great daughters. My life is good. He says, so I'm trying to tell Charlie, practice every day. Yes, dear, you're right. He said, you'll do great. So, but he was like funny and casual, and it was casual Friday, so he's just wearing like a pair of pants and a collared, like a colored shirt. Casual shirt, t-shirt type thing, and so friendly. Just what Wendy said, a genuinely nice guy. You wouldn't think he's an appellate judge. You just wouldn't believe it. So super nice guy, and I'm happy for her because she's a nice person for her to work with. And the other 4 people, that we met, also so nice.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, this guy Trinity. I think Trinity is Wendy's age. I thought she told me he used to be a cop, but then he went to law school, and now he's doing this. Beautiful job, then. And he, and he's the one that's married and has 2 kids. And it's such a difference because, for whatever reason, Ben didn't want the ice cream cake. So he went back into Wendy's office, and we're all sitting and having cake. And after about 15 minutes, this guy Trinity gets up. And we thought he was in the bathroom. So anyway, yes, he did, honey. He just did. He has an extra brush in there. So there's some things that I was hoping. No, I'm going to ask him. He said, "What time tomorrow?" I'm hoping I'm going to have a little time with you tomorrow, just to talk about some of the cases that we need to go over. So. Okay. All your stuff. Okay, sweetheart. Okay, I'll get you one. So I would like, if that's possible, maybe. What do you think?
Well, I'm waking up early in the morning. I'm driving up to West Palm Beach.
I know you said that. I couldn't remember what you were doing up there.
I'm going racing.
Oh. Maybe you're doing something. Dad said, what's he doing? I said, I don't remember. He told me he was doing something.
Yeah, no, I'm going racing. I got all the guys going up there.
Yeah.
How
many of you are going?
I think just 4 of us.
Yeah. Is Scotty one of them?
Scott Jones. Who? Scott Radius or Scott Jones?
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on a second. What, Lincoln?
I know when the rescue box first got their color.
Oh, yeah?
When they scanned the vehicle, they scanned into the vehicle, and then they transformed, and they got their color.
Oh, okay. Tell Grandpa to get a book and go into bed with you, and I will be right there. Okay. I forgot about that. Okay. You can have, not this one, honey. Let me do this with you tomorrow, please, Ben. So you're going up there early. So what is that like? About 3-4 hours of racing or less?
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at an hour. It's an hour and 15 minutes there. It's an hour and 15 minutes back here, and I'll probably be there for 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to get to your place by 5:30.
Okay. If it doesn't work, maybe maybe I'll stay a little bit later because dinner. It's not going to be a ladies' night,
No. I can always talk to you after. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Can I just ask you one thing?
Sure.
Has there been any more drama?
No.
Zero. Yeah. Did Dad tell you what I spoke to him about?
Yeah. And I have a couple of questions. That's what I want to have a chance to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, but it makes
go over those cases.
Makes perfect sense, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But I still have some questions and things that I think need to be addressed. But, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I mean, listen, there's no rush. I don't start work till Monday.
Okay, sounds good.
It's not like I ask you tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I've thought everything through again and again and again, and I think I'm 100% right.
Yeah. Oh, I would hope so. That would be, yeah.
Or 99% right, because none of it makes any sense.
No.
None of it makes any sense. I mean,
No.
there's no.
I know.
It's not. I'm just telling you, it's not done like that. It's not. I know for a fact.
Yeah.